so let's open up a little bit to the audience. Is there anybody who has a question in the room? Okay, let me repeat the question just for the benefit of the broad room. If I paraphrase, and you'll keep me correct, I'm sure, which is that it all sounds great so far, but there must be work involved. There may be some pitfalls that if you implement BYOD you should know about. What are those pitfalls you should anticipate? Fair enough? So, John, do you want to go first?
Sure.
Sorry.
You know, we talked about privacy. I think the other one is just the legality of it. And if you look at most of the, I'll say from what we've seen, a lot of mid-market customers are able to implement BYOD faster than large corporates and Fortune 500. And the reason for that is they have much smaller HR and compliance and legal groups that want to dissect every component of the program. They also, I think, maybe are less concerned about the issue if you reimburse somebody, you know, $20 a month. They're not thinking, well, that's actually income and payroll, and how do you get taxes withheld from that? So I think one of the big areas that, you know, that we've seen is just making sure that we're helping clients understand some of the best practices. From a legal perspective, maybe a EULA, a simple EULA, where somebody has to click through it, and instead of being, you know, a bunch of mumbo jumbo, you know, small print, you know, our way of presenting that, we recommend they put in big, bold, colored letters in the first 3 lines. We will or will not collect GPS location services. We will or will not look at, you know, this information. We will or will not do these types of things. So from a best practice, you're giving the, you know, the employee the information so that they can then make a choice of whether or not they want to continue. So I think along with privacy is just the legality approach of it, and informing the end user of what's going to happen before they move forward.
We'll just go down the line, John.
Sure, yeah, so I think those are some great points that John pointed out with regards to this. And really, when you look at the switch between corporate liable and personal liable, there inherently is risk involved with that. And so what we've been trying to do is help these customers understand what that risk is and understand where they can take the risks and where they can't take the risks. So having stuff like a EULA in place is extremely important from an enterprise side to protect them, right? Because again, you have this person that's bringing in their device with their data on it, and then you mess it up, well, you know, that could be that class action lawsuit against the company because you did something on their device, right? So there is some protections that you need to put in place, but as John mentioned too, it's, you know, putting that in that big bold letters, right? Because how many of us have a EULA that we click on every day before we log into our computers? You know, I would say there's probably a lot of us. How many of you actually read that EULA every time before you click on read and you log into your computer? And so again, it's understanding the risk that's involved and truly understanding it, right? Not just okay, we understand that that's going to happen, but whatever. It's understanding, helping these customers understand that risk and ways that we can help mitigate that risk.
So to the point, acceptable use policy, number one thing that customers have to lock onto. Some can be one page. We recommend really keeping it as short and focused as possible. You get into that pages and pages, again, you lose the impact, you lose the effectiveness. So one of the things that really helps us with our customers is we've seen how to get these things down and get out to what's really important. We also have the services to actually bring together. You should see it when we do it. It's kind of fun. Bring together the legal, the HR, and a couple lines of business on the IT head into one room at one time for 30 minutes and say, guys, we have a process.
30 minutes?
30 minutes. At a time, right? About 3 hours is what it turns out to be. We always say 30 minutes, right?
Wow.
You get them together, and you have to get all the heads nodding in the right direction. Otherwise, it takes weeks and months, and sometimes it never happens at all. Right? So that's one big aspect. The other side is BYOD is unique, I think, in the corporate experience, in that in order to be successful, the users have to want to do it. Right? The employees have to want to participate, or BYOD will fail. You can put in the best tools, you can put in the best program, you can have the best of everything else, but unless your employee base wants to participate, it will fail. So So you have to think about that as well, and think about ways to incent. I mean, the values that we bring to the table with MDM, you talked about that lost device. You don't have to wipe it. You have steps of mitigation. You can lock it first. Whether that's a corporate device or just a personal device, there's a pretty good chance you're not going to want to have that, your personal device that you can't identify. You probably want that locked. You don't want it unlocked out there. Anyone can pick it up and get your personal contacts, your pictures, and so forth. So, that being said, those are some of the things you can really, those are some of the pitfalls. If you don't get them right, they bite you all the way through.
So let me repeat the question for the benefit of, make sure everybody here. So there's other aspects that you think beyond just what's on the device. There's mobile hotspot capability and whether that's used or not. And then there's peripherals like SD cards and storage. So how do you manage and control those other elements that are related to the device? So who would like to take a crack at that?
So I think that some of those things, again, come back to what are you looking for in a solution to manage your device when you talk about manageability, right? So does the product that you're using have the capability to lock things like that down? Do you have the feature through an IT policy to say, you know what, this user can't use their mobile hotspot, or we want to disallow the use of a media card that's been put in a device? So it's difficult because I think there's two different ways of going about it, right? There's the hardware IT policies that you put in place, but then it also goes back to that risk thing. And okay, what do we truly want to allow? What do we want to disallow? Putting the policy in place, and you know, I think like David said, is getting your users buy-in on it and their understanding, getting them knowledgeable of the fact that, you know what, this is a policy that we have in place. This is our stance on that policy. If you want to use your device in our environment, this is the policy that you have to adhere to.
A couple of things just to add on to what John just said is, not every device that's out there has the APIs in it that allow you to control that. Not every solution, every product that's out there from an MDM perspective has the ability to allow you to do these kind of things. So what you would be looking for, if that's the type of capability you're looking to control, you want to look at allowing devices that, again, are probably newer devices that are going to have that capability, that have those APIs that you can control, maybe deactivate or disallow mobile hotspot. The other side is, the only way you're going to really accomplish some of that containerization of where things are going to be stored is to have a container-type solution. Or a virtual solution, thank you. Or dual persona, which is one of the other areas where, again, these are various different terminologies for an encrypted separate space wherein business takes place that is separate from where personal activities take place.
So let me build on that and ask you, Jose,
Yes, sir.
to please define, what was that? Virtual solution, dual persona, and containerized solution.
Absolutely. Anybody familiar with VMware? Yeah. So what are they doing? They're taking a machine and they're creating separate virtual machines or sub-machines out of the same server. Think the same thing on a mobile device. Now, from a user experience, think about your laptop. So how many accounts do you have on your laptop? You probably have more than one. Maybe one for you, one for your wife. If it's a personal laptop. If it's a work laptop, maybe multiple people can access the same computer from work. So they can be n number of accounts. So what multi-persona does is allows you to have different types of different parts of your personality. So there's a part of you that is your family, friends area. There's a part of you that is your work side of your life. There's a part of you that's your social side. Maybe there's a part of you that's your dating, if you're dating. So there are different aspects of your life and different ways that you communicate and that you interact with the world. So what we do is we take that device, at the OS layer, we break it up into n number of personas. So it could be one personal, one work, one dating, one social, yada yada. Think about, for example, a use case for a medical office. So you can have one tablet that has an account for every single nurse and for the doctor. So you can virtualize that tablet and have one device that can be shared amongst the organization.
Sounds like you're describing the virtual model.
That's right.
What was the containerization and the other one that I even forget now?
So containerization is when you create an application that creates a separate workspace. So what that does is it's above the OS layer. You might or might not have control of the SD card or the Wi-Fi hotspot. You do on the virtualization layer because you have control over the OS. So if you had an MDM solution that talked to our application with our APIs, you can control that. So it can create, can enable...
Kind of sense a sandbox.
That's right.
And then I do remember, dual persona, I think, was the other phrase used, so...
Yeah, I mean, dual persona, multi-persona is the same concept. It's just whether it's 1 or 2 or 3 or 4.
Okay. All right, good. So thank you. That was just an opportunity.